Welcome back to my page, Talk Me Out Africa, powered by CDEC, Social and Integral Development Center. As you know, I am Ugochi Agalaba Ehiahurike, the Executive Director, Talk Me Out Africa, and Team Lead for Social and Integral Development Center. With me today is a powerful woman, a woman I respect very, very much as an individual, the society, the church, everyone respects her so much, and it's an honor for her to be in our midst and also to be our powerful guest this evening, as we'll be talking about ways to strengthen marriages and avoid divorce in the society, because everything starts from the family, and if family is not well organized, the children everywhere suffers, even the society suffers. So today with me is Mrs. Ene Obi. Mrs. Ene Obi is the convener at Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room and also the country director for Action Aid. Ma, we are glad to have you in our midst.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So, like I've said, today she will be exposing us on ways to strengthen marriages and avoid divorce.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you for having me, for inviting me, and this is a very sensitive topic. It's a topic that is of concern to humanity, because the family is the bedrock. The family is the hub of humanity, and so there is a lot of power that concentrates on that environment. It's the hub of society. It's the family that makes up a community, and the communities make up the society. And so issues of value orientation is very, very important. Even from the beginning, a lot of elders try to take the young people through some capacity building, some sensitization before marriages. I think in local communities, there are setups that teach, really work on the couple before they get married. When this is ignored, sometimes, it really leads to the break before the beginning. You see a lot of marriages breaking now. Yeah. Maybe soon after the wedding, marriage is broken, some 2 months, some 3 months, some 10 years, some 30, some 40, and it still breaks. Yeah. Understanding each other is very, very important from the beginning. If you are getting married, what is your relationship before getting married? Do you know the person you are getting married to? We are confronted with two environments now. One environment in the I won't say early days, but one environment is that the girl child is forced into marriage. Yeah. The girl's child is not given options at all. She doesn't choose who she gets married to. And sometimes the guys don't get to choose, who they marry. But sometimes the guys can say, this is the person I want, and then the family and the society, the community find a way to make sure that that is the person he gets married to, and at the end of the day, the girl doesn't really have a choice. But we are getting more into an environment where more girls are now educated from across the country. More of them are educated, and when they're educated, it makes for more choices. One is even the issue of, I won't say family planning, but when the girl stays longer, by going through the secondary school, the university, at least she's stronger. Yes. She can cope more with the burden of, it's not a burden, with the blessings of childbearing. Yes. And all of that, so she's older. Unlike when you have very little children, young girls that get married and then they have cases of BVF and so on and so forth. They are not strong enough to handle the issues of marriage. They are not strong enough to be able to take the kind of responsibilities that the society aspects of them. They are not exposed to choices, because if they are not educated, the chances of you being exposed to choices becomes something. There are issues of, yes, for me, marriage is for life, but not in all circumstances.
Yes.
When you have issues of violence coming in fact, you open this door here, if there is violence here, I will escape from the other, and that's the way I will shut it down. But that is for somebody who is educated.
Yes.
Educated, so you have economic empowerment. And because you have economic empowerment, if you run into danger zones, you can escape. But not many of my sisters can do that. A lot of them are going through violence, they are going through psychosocial, issues, mental torture, because some is physical violence and others is not, is not physical, but you suffer torture and you are frustrated, you are depressed, you are staying in a home, that even the power of tongue of somebody can reduce you to nothing. And so there are lots of ways which we can look at issues of how to stay in the marriage.
Yes.
Mutual respect is very important. Respect. If you don't love what you have, where would somebody go to get love from? For both the woman and the man. The women handle a lot, and many times they are ignored. Not because I'm a woman. If you look at the roles of a mother, many times in our kind of patriarchal society, the woman is ignored for her roles. But when COVID-19 came, a lot of men testified, because they were now staying at home 100% of the time. Many of them confess that they can't believe what a woman faces, and a lot of things. So there are so many reasons that will keep you. There are some people that when they enter marriage, there's so much love. But so many circumstances, because there are third parties around and so on and so forth, it destroys some of the elements of what unites the two people. And so it becomes a difficulty, especially when if you are not faithful. If you don't have faith, it's not just being a Christian or a Muslim. You have to be able to abide by your faith, depending on the rules that set up the marriage institution that you belong. And so I think marriage is about working hard. You need tolerance with each other. It's not going to be easy. Of course it's not going to be easy, because sometimes you think you are the one tolerating somebody. Oh, hey, put the mirror on yourself. Maybe that person is tolerating you. And so it's important for us to understand that we need to work on the relationship. There are some simple disagreements that are broken marriages.
Yes.
I can take it, you go. You brought yourselves together. Now, because of your love for each other, you brought on board children that are now looking at you. And now, you don't want to take it from each other. We need to make allowance for one another. It's important to be tolerant. Because sometimes for me, I pray on a daily basis that God should help me, to be able to tolerate those I find hard to deal with. In fact, you can even go further to say, I find hard to like. But do things change? There are certain things that changes, people's minds. Did somebody change in a party? Did I change? Did you change? Can we examine it? I think when people can open up, one key to being together is communication. A number of people don't want to communicate. I can tell you that. Some people don't want to talk about it. You have done something. Life is about relationships. Yes. You can't have a relationship when you are not communicating. And so some damages can be done when all it takes is a simple connection of, talking through it, talking about it, and then allowing you listen to the other person. You don't just go talking to people. You also need to listen to other people about their concerns. Are you a mother who stays at home? Are you a mother who goes out a lot? Do you know what is going on in that environment? How do you handle the children? Communication is around. When I get up, I want to go out, my kids will say, Mom, where are you going to? And then, and I'm such a person that will tell you exactly where I am, the spot where I will be, so you can deal with it, but I also come back. Yes. And I say, where are you going to? And some of them, they will tell me, oh, come on, I'm a big girl. I said, hey, I'm a woman, an old woman, I gave birth to you, and you're asking me. And so for us, I think at home, you know, we tell each other, you know, my husband will say, I'm going here. So we don't have that kind of attitude to say, you get up and you just go somewhere and you just get lost in the sky. And so it's important for us to be able to deal with issues, you know, understanding one another, respecting one another, and that you're educated does not mean that you're rude. Rudeness, you use insulting words at home. What happened to God's love? If you have forgotten the love between the two of you, what about God's love, who says, love one another as yourself? So how do you deal with it? And so I think things in the environment, people are annoyed about a lot of things. There are circumstances, there are issues of unemployment, we're having discordances, you know, in the family now. Sometimes the husband has a job, after some time the husband doesn't have a job again, maybe the woman has a job, you know, she doesn't know how to deal with it. There are sometimes that some women overreact because they'll get up to, after all, I'm the one funding the home. I would like people to look at things together, to say, if the table turns, even if the table is not turning and you have economic resources, it's for the home. And if the man has the resources, it's for the home. When the table turns and you are the one that is earning money, you are earning it still on behalf of the family. I've seen some women who, no matter how much they earn, they are not going to contribute to the family because they feel it's the man who is supposed to supply money for the family and all of that. We all contribute for the future of the family. And it's important for us to know that we are together as a family. I think planning together also helps, and supporting one another. Like I said earlier, communication is very key. You listen to learn, and learn to listen, getting to know more about what is happening with each other. I know that when people start keeping secrets, you know something is happening, you know, and all of that. So let's be true to ourselves. You can tell people lies, but you can't tell yourself lies, because inside yourself you know, and God knows that you are moving. Don't be quick to exit a space because you feel you cannot deal with it anymore. But one thing that I don't take is the issue of violence. Yeah. If you are suffering violence, somebody is beating you, it also depends on the home that the person is coming from. Because if you are from a home, if you marry a man that is coming from a violent home, or marry a girl that is coming from a violent home, there will be some counteracting, you know, forces around you. And so if it's the guy knows that I have to beat my wife, you know, that's the routine. If he doesn't beat the wife, it's like, that's what he knows. And so that is exactly happening. It's very difficult for a young man who grows up from a home where there is no violence to raise a hand against another person. When a girl comes from a violent home, her reactions in a normal environment is also different. It can't be the woman that is, the man that is, the woman that is raising issues, that is always talking and insulting and all of that. But some men will not beat, but they use the power of the tongue. What are you? Who is this? And all of that. And the power of the tongue is very, very important. How you lift people, even with your husband, with your wife. You know, some men, they may not have anything. They look at you, they say, "Oyoyo."
It's true.
They say, "My beautiful woman, me." You know, in different languages, they have a way of also praising, and all your anger and all that will just disappear. So, life is about love, and I think love is a bedrock. It's very, very important. Another maybe message for guys too is that somebody raised a daughter. You know, you can imagine the day that the child is born, that daughter is born. a daughter comes into the family, brightens the family, is a light to the family, then there is a naming and going down, starting pre-nursery, then you go to nursery and secondary school, primary, nursery, a primary, secondary school, and then the university, and then you have a beautiful girl. Somebody's princess. You go with your parents and you knock on the door. And you say, open that door. And the parents open the door and you say, I want your daughter. This child has been loved in that home for all of those years. And now you are taking her out from her environment. When you take her from her environment, it becomes a different kettle of fish. She's going to a new environment she has not been. She doesn't know the people. Even the husband that is coming to take her, she hardly knows that person, unless they have school together and so on. And so at that point, you take somebody's princess, you don't treat her like a princess. You look at her as somebody, after a little thing you insult her and all of that. You need to protect that girl. You are the one who has taken her from her home. And so if you don't treat her like a princess, who else is going to do that? But the charge is also to the women of the community, to the women of the family. How they react to this new girl that has come into the family is also very, very important. But the protection of the man, that whatever you're doing, let it not get to anybody abusing my wife. The husband is the number one protector. But as sisters-in-laws, now getting to mothers-in-laws and so on and so forth, who should protect? I cannot hear, unless there is no way that can happen and I will be still somebody's daughter. I don't qualify to go and take a child from somebody's home. But now, God has gifted me that child. You will hold that child to your bosom. Both the husband and the family will welcome that child into the family and make her a pride of place and make her the princess also. Because I look at it as I see a princess coming into my home. And she would be treated like that princess because she's going to feel alone. She's going to be so alone. All of a sudden, sometimes even the family members forget that she's there. Because she has now gone. People look at it as gone. So she becomes a member of another family. How do we treat each other? How do we treat other people, other girls that come into the family is very, very important. If you go to both religion, the Muslim religion, subjugates women just like the Christian religion subjugates women. The way you are treated, even under the Muslim, environment is when you give a divorce, the law provides, very, very simple, provides that if you don't want your wife again, you give her a release, but you have to stay in the same house for about 3 months and let her move to another room. If you can't sort it out. Then you let her go. Give her the final, give her the letter and then let her go. But if she's going, you have to equip her, provide for her in a way that she doesn't become a beggar on the street or be in need that will lead her to sin. For Christians, they look at you, they say, completely submit yourself to a man. And they will continue to quote it, but they will also forget that God said you should love her like Christ loved the church. That is seamless love, total commitment. Why do we go before God and we make the proclamations? We take things that we cannot respect. And so a lot of subjugation of the woman. But I know that those who have committed themselves to women, loving them and respecting them, and having God as a core. If you go together as you worship and make sure that everybody is committed and committing yourself for a family, you are not doing a woman a favor by loving her. Yeah. You promised to love her and you took her. Now, maybe you've seen another girl somewhere and things like that. You say, I don't want you anymore. Or if you are not loving your wife, maybe, just maybe somebody saying something kind to her. And if you are not loving your husband, another woman who has time and say, hey, hi, how are you? But at home, you become a nagging woman. Mm-hmm. At home, a lot of it happens on both sides. Yeah. Sometimes when you want to go home, you don't want to go home because your home is hell. But if the home is nice, it's just like going to an office. Mm. If you have a good boss or a beautiful environment where people are good, you look forward to when you go back home, or you look forward to when you go back to the office. And so I want to say that we can all do our bits. But if you cannot, if you're suffering because people are dying in silence, in marriages, anything that comes to you reducing yourself, because when you are alive, your children will come. Or when you raise your children, we are getting so many single parents these days. You find a man not even, being entitled, not contributing anything. We have single mothers now more than any other time, and they are raising wonderful children. But why did you cause them to bring them to the world when you are not going to be part of their lives? And it's okay, and society takes it as if that is nothing, the man has left and all of that. And many men have left their homes after a couple of years when they see that the children have been brought up and they are now grown. The man walks in and says, I want to come back into your life. And the society will say, yes, now just allow him to come and be there. So you become the one that will now take care of the old man who was never part of your life. What kind of marriage is that one? So we need to also be human and be sensitive.
Wow. Thank you so very much, Ma.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I believe our listeners out there, we've all learned a lot. One takeaway for me from all those 100 line items beyond 13 was more than 100 was learn to listen and listen to learn. Very important.
That's Johns Hopkins University. Communications. Yeah.
Your final words, ma'am. Your final words, just final greetings to our people as we are embarking on this festivity period.
I want to say, don't give up hope. We can work on our families together. You can learn to forgive. Forgiveness is very key. You learn to forgive, respect one another. Don't give up hope. Yeah. And get empowered. Learn from whatever you need to do. Economic empowerment for the woman is very, very key. Because ahead of the times, things are not the same anymore. That you always wait for the man to bring in one or two things. Rather, I will encourage that you get economically empowered, for the sake of the families, because the world is not the same anymore. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you so very much. We look forward to seeing, having Madam Aine, the convener Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, and also the country director for Action. We look forward to seeing you again, ma.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, ma. Thank you.